Right, hello and welcome to the very first video on the First Hay from YouTube channel for Scouting at Home. So, as you may have seen on our social medias, we have challenged all of our members to do at least one night camping at home in their garden. So, today I'll be showing you how to put up a tent. So, the first thing when you need to put up a tent is you need to check the area that you've got around you. So, you don't want to be camping on any twigs, on any rocks, so clear the area, make sure it's as flat as it can be, and then you're ready to put up your tent. So, let's get into it. So the first thing to do whenever you want to start building a tent is to make sure you lay out all of the canvas in front of you, make sure you get the poles out of the pole bag, make sure you know where the tent pegs are, and make sure that you've got a rubber mallet to hand, which is what you'll be using to put the tent pegs into the ground. Once you're happy, you've laid out your tent, you know where everything is, it's nice and neat, you can then start to peg in the four corners. You do this because it means the tent's not going to then blow away if it's a bit windy. You're happy, you know where it is, you've decided to put in your corners. You don't need to put in any other pegs at this stage, just the four corners, so you know where you're working with. Whilst I was doing this, Ollie started to put together the poles. He did this because that's the next step, so it's nice and easy to get prepared. If you've got multiple people, work as a team, you can both be doing different jobs at the same time. So the poles are nice and straightforward to put together. They are connected by a bit of elastic that goes throughout. Once you've connected them, we had 4 poles. Each tent might be different, you might have less, you might have more, but it's the same step. Put together your poles and then you're ready to move on to the next step. The next step is to start putting the poles through the canvas ready to stand the tent up. So on our tent, all the poles were the same, which means they could go through whichever loops we wanted. However, some tents, they are colour coordinated, which means you need to put the blue poles through the blue loops and so on. So make sure you do check that your tent's not one of the colour coordinated types before you just start putting them in. If it is, make sure you're putting the right poles through the right loops. Once you start putting the poles in, you can start to stand them up so the tent starts to stand up. However, it is important that you do this one at a time and you're both working on the same pole. If you try from different ends, you start to find that it becomes much more complicated, so it's much easier to work from one end to the other. So to do this, you start to make the bottom of the poles start to come into the floor, so you'll find that the middle start to elevate into the air, and then you need to clip them in. To clip them in, you do as shown in this little close-up video right here, which hopefully will make it nice and clear, and then you repeat this for all the poles in your tent. Once your poles have been put in and clipped in, your tent will now look something like this, all nicely starting to look actually like a tent rather than just canvas laying on the floor. Now you're ready to start to put in your guy ropes. The purpose of the guy ropes is to help stretch out the top of the tent to give you as much space on the inside as possible, as well as helping to secure it down. There'll be 1 guy rope on each corner of the tent, so 4 of those in total, along with at least 2 or 3 along the side. You start with the corners and you pull these out diagonally to stretch it out as far as possible, and then you do the ones along the side which you pull out perpendicular to the tent. You want your pegs along the floor to be in a nice neat line to make everything look as neat as possible and also to prevent the risk of tripping over them. Once you have pegged in all of the guy ropes, the only pegs you'll have left to put in around the outside are the ones around the bottom, which you have not yet done. On my tent there was only 2 on each side, which is what I'm currently doing in the video. Now that we have finished with the outside, we can start to do the insides. So usually there is 2 rows of clips inside a tent. There might be more, there might be less, but that's fine. And these will line up with the clips on the innards. You start your way from one side to the other and just go along clipping them in, and that's all you need to do for the innards. My clips looked a little bit like this, however different tents will have different clips, so you just need to figure out how your clip works and go along making sure they're all clipped in order. The final thing you need to do for your tent is to peg down the innards on the outside to make sure that they're nice and flush to the floor. There's usually 1 in each corner, so if you go around, peg them in, you are all done. Okay, so thank you very much for watching. That was how you put up a tent. Make sure you send in your pictures and videos of you trying this at home. Links will be down below for all the social medias. Follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, it will mean a lot, and make sure you're subscribed to see the rest of the videos. See you next time. Pack dismissed.